Welcome back to Hardball. The Romney campaign sounding calm, cool, and confident with 13 days to go. Well, since the first debate, Romney has clearly caught President Obama in most national polls. But is Romney really the front runner as he's projecting himself to be right now? And as some of the media are now painting him. Well, this morning, Politico's Mike Allen threw some cold water on the growing conventional wisdom. He pointed out that the obvious, here it is. To be president, you have to win states, not debates. And Mitt Romney has a problem. Romney has not put away a single one of the must-have states. President Obama remains the favorite because he only needs to win a couple of the toss-ups. Mitt needs to win most of them. Well, New York Magazine's Jonathan Chait's here with us. He put it more bluntly just yesterday, quote, "This is a bluff. Romney's carefully attempting to project an atmosphere of momentum in the hopes of winning positive media coverage and thus creating a self-fulfilling prophecy." Well written. Jonathan Chait joins us right now. He's sitting right here along with my good buddy David Korn, Washington Bureau Chief for Mother Jones, and the author of the great ebook, 47%. There it is. As if it actually exists.
It does.
It's an ebook, but they're pretending it's a book. Anyway, it's a real book. It's much cheaper. How much does it cost?
99 cents.
See, that's right. That's the deal. The deal is say, read it one night. You can't lose.
Right.
Okay, Jonathan, I think you wrote that very well. What I was reminded of in learning about this theory of BS, if you will, that they're going to win, it reminds me of that little princeling W. Announcing basically the night of the election in 2000 that he had won the divine right, the droit de seigneur of the Bush family. We have a right to be president. And I'm going to dictate from now on through 5 weeks of recount that I am the president. Is this what the other princely born guy is up to?
I think so, and Bush did that even before the election. He went out to California. Karl Rove was saying he was going to win 320 electoral votes. I went back and I read...
My daddy said I'll be president. It's coming true.
Exactly.
Is that it? Okay.
I went back and read something I wrote in 2000 when I was at the New Republic at the time, and I wrote this piece saying, hey, Bush doesn't have it in the bag, and I sort of had to convince everyone that he wasn't going to absolutely crush Al Gore. And it was sort of this surprising, shocking...
But this strategy of saying you've won before you've won creates a kind of a... inevitability, I think it's ridiculously premature. We have 2 weeks of anything can happen, but go ahead. Well, and by the way, the numbers are closing and maybe crossing.
I don't know why we're surprised that the Romney campaign, which doesn't tell the truth about his policy positions, his past statements, or even what he said, his taxes, even what he said 5 seconds ago, is now throwing a line of bull out about what's going to happen in the elections. I mean, I'd expect them to do this. I think what they're trying to do, too, now, is we may have, everyone's getting worried about a post-election fight, that it's not definitive, or something comes up, and so the more you talk about it beforehand as, well, it looks like Romney's going to win, you try to set up again for the post-election fight that may or may not come.
Like in Florida.
Like in Florida. So it's the type of thing that reporters get suckered into, and, we keep looking at the national numbers.
Okay, why? Let's get down to what's the psychobabble here. Why do Republicans lust for the presidency? It's almost like we are the ruling class. They don't mind being who's running Congress. Those jobs are middle level, below the line in the House. They must be president. It's like if they're not president, if they don't call the military at their demand, if they don't have this power of living in the White House where the best people live, they've really failed themselves.
I think Democrats want to be president.
No, they want to be president, but I don't think it's the same sense of right.
You're talking about entitlement.
Democrats feel that...
You're talking about a sense of entitlement.
Right. And Democrats earn it.
We've seen for the last 4 years, we've talked about this numerous times on the show, that that they don't accept Obama as a legitimate president. A lot of Republicans, a lot of people on the right.
Democrats
and so thus they feel that it's there.
You know what I thought in 2000? Do you think the Republicans would have given in so easily, the way it worked for the Democrats?
No.
I don't.
And do you think W would have written that beautiful speech that Al Gore gave? No way. They don't concede. Anyway, if Obama carries Ohio, which looks pretty good as of today, perhaps the main reason will be due to the fact that he helped save the auto industry. We all know that. The people out there all know that. The ones watching it. Well, the president addressed that yesterday at a rally in Ohio. Let's watch. And this, many people believe, is the key state in this election, Ohio.
If Mitt Romney had been president when the auto industry was on the verge of collapse, we might not have an American auto industry today. I wasn't about to let Detroit go bankrupt or Toledo go bankrupt or Lordstown go bankrupt. I bet on American workers. I bet on American manufacturing. I would do it again because that bet has paid off for Ohio and for America in a big way.
Well, he believes he's going to win, and you can see it there. By the way, a brand new Time magazine poll out just today, this is the latest news, shows the president with a comfortable 5-point lead nationally among likely voters, 49-44, which actually that's Ohio. Oh, God, 49-44. What do you make of that?
I think he's up in Ohio. All the polls have him up in Ohio. And look, it's close. He doesn't have a big margin, but he is ahead in the electoral college.
And it's been pretty consistent, too, now for like 2 months. He's had this lead in Ohio that's ahead of all the leads in the other swing states.
If the polls are right.
If they're right.
Which they might not be, but if the polls are right, Obama is winning. And that's a fact that just hasn't come through in the coverage.
Let's take a look at this new ad by Bill Clinton. It's a very strong endorsement of the president. It's basically entitled, "He's Got It Right."
The stuff some folks are saying about President Obama sounds kind of familiar. The same people said my ideas would destroy jobs, and they called me every name in the book. Well, we created 22 million new jobs and turned deficits into surpluses. President Obama's got it right. We should invest in the middle class, education, and innovation, and pay down our debt with spending restraint and asking the wealthy to pay a little more. Sound familiar?
Let's take a look at this ad from Obama now. This is another one. This is about getting people out to vote. It's the underdog ad, which is the flip side of what we're talking about. The bragging ad, on their side, a bragging point of view they're trying to push out to the mainstream press. And here's Obama playing it much differently. Perhaps that we try harder approach here, the Harry Truman approach, might be what will win for him. Let's watch this ad.
537, the number of votes that changed the course of American history.
Florida is too close to call.
The difference between what was and what could have been. So this year, if you're thinking that your vote doesn't count, that it won't matter, well, back then, there were probably at least 537 people who felt the same way. Make your voice heard. Vote.
That's my religion right there. That's what I really believe.
Well,
every vote counts. I believe it. I tell my kids this. You think, and it usually comes down to a choice between two candidates. You play games by voting for the third-party candidate. You're playing games. It's two people.
But this is all about mobilizing people. You know, in my neighborhood, in my community, I know people who are doing less and are less excited than they were 4 years ago. They're not door knocking. They're not going to swing states the way they did 4 years ago. That has to have somewhat of an impact. They want to make sure they squeeze every vote they can out of their natural constituency. I mean, it's natural, but if it's so tight like this, and you don't know if there's going to be any funny business in the end with super PAC ads or anything else, voter suppression efforts, they just want to get everybody out that they can. And I think ads like that I hope are effective.
Right. There are definitely a lot of polls that show an enthusiasm gap with Republicans just rabid, determined to get Obama out of office. And Democrats, they're working their way towards it, but they're not where they were in 2008. So that's the main project of the Obama campaign, I think.
Yeah, and Republicans, right, there's so many haters in their midst, not all of them, obviously, but there's so many haters on the right now. They're going to vote. They're going to show up.
Yeah.
Anyway, Jonathan Chait, thanks for joining us. Come back again, and thank you, David, as always.